Type 0 civilization. Look, this is us, right now. We extract dead organic matter from the dirt and burn it just to power our primitive machines. We're entirely dependent on the random whims of our host planet. Think about it. A sudden solar flare, a stray asteroid, or even a supervolcano could erase every single trace of human existence in a matter of hours. Our entire planetary output is barely a fraction of the total energy hitting the Earth from the Sun. We squabble over imaginary borders and hoard finite resources while floating blindly in an endless hostile void. To a higher intelligence, we are completely indistinguishable from bacteria fighting over territory in a shallow petri dish. We look up at the stars and assume we're incredibly special, but our survival is merely a temporary streak of dumb cosmic luck. We haven't even harnessed our homeworld yet. We simply leech off its fragile biosphere. Now, the transition out of this phase is the deadliest hurdle any intelligent species ever faces. Most don't survive it. They systematically pollute their own atmosphere, ignite localized nuclear fire, and choke on their toxic byproducts long before they ever reach the next stage. And we are currently standing right on the edge of that exact cliff. Type 1 civilization. A true planetary master, this species has successfully survived the terrifying filter of self-destruction. They control every single erg of energy falling on their planet from their parent star. Weather isn't a chaotic force of nature anymore. It is meticulously programmed. Earthquakes, tsunamis, and violent volcanic eruptions don't just happen unless they're specifically scheduled for energy extraction. They've learned to manipulate the deep geological forces of their world, harvesting geothermal power with absolute perfection. The oceans are farmed, filtered, and regulated down to the molecular level. The atmosphere? It's practically an artificial shell, scrubbed and balanced to exact life-sustaining specifications. They never worry about burning fossil fuels or collapsing ecosystems. The entire globe functions as a unified, flawlessly engineered megastructure. But even with this absolute planetary dominance, their existence remains incredibly fragile. A localized gamma-ray burst or a rogue wandering black hole would annihilate their entire world instantly. They're still hopelessly confined to a single vulnerable drop in the vast cosmic ocean. To secure their existence permanently against the brutal mechanics of the universe, they must look outward. They must strip their neighboring planets completely bare and begin the monumental task of harvesting their local star. Type 2 civilization. Stellar architects. Listen, they have completely transcended the desperate need for a fragile home planet. Instead, they harness the total energy output of their entire star. They do this by constructing a Dyson sphere, a massive, mind-bending shell of solar collectors completely enclosing the sun. Just imagine it, a terrifying swarm of billions of mechanical habitats, automated factories, and giant energy mirrors blocking out the light of a star, turning it totally dark to the rest of the universe. They wield absolute terrifying control over their solar system. If a rogue planet enters their territory, they simply vaporize it with focused stellar beams. If their star begins to age or dangerously expand, they engage in stellar lifting, siphoning off heavy mass to artificially extend its burning life. They command power on a scale billions of times greater than our own collective output. Sudden extinction by natural cosmic disaster is completely impossible for them. They live in simulated paradises or indestructible mechanical bodies, fully immune to disease and biological aging. Yet they are still fundamentally limited. The brutal speed of light traps them within their local system. To escape the slow, inevitable death of their stellar neighborhood, they must spread the infection of their intelligence across the galactic arm. Type 3 civilization. Galactic conquerors. They have ruthlessly expanded across the entire Milky Way, consuming billions of stars in their wake. When you look up at the night sky, you're literally looking at their raw construction materials. They navigate the incomprehensible freezing voids between distant solar systems as easily as we cross a simple street. They've wrapped countless suns in energy-harvesting spheres, turning entire populated sectors of the galaxy completely unnervingly dark. They routinely manipulate space-time itself, artificially bending wormholes to bypass the strict speed limit of light entirely. Their processing power is so immensely vast, they likely use the swirling event horizons of supermassive black holes as raw supercomputers. Fragile flesh and blood? Completely obsolete. They exist as a relentless swarm of networked mechanical intelligence, replicating endlessly like a viral infection from star to star. If we ever stumbled upon a species like this, we wouldn't even recognize them as living beings. They would look like an unstoppable force of nature. If they decided to pave over our solar system to build a hyperspace conduit, they wouldn't attempt to negotiate with us. You don't negotiate with ants when you build a highway. They simply take exactly what they need, leaving cold, dead dust swirling in their wake. Type 4 civilization. Universal gods. This entity has successfully claimed the entire observable universe as its personal domain. They span billions of galaxy clusters, aggressively harnessing the dark energy actively expanding the cosmos. They don't build primitive machines of metal, carbon, or glass. Their engineering medium is the invisible fabric of reality itself. They directly manipulate the fundamental constants of physics at will. If gravity, infinite energy from the spinning cores of supermassive black holes at the center of ancient dead galaxies. They are so unbelievably massive and ancient that their collective thoughts might take millions of years to travel from one side of their sprawling empire to the other. Linear time is entirely meaningless to them. They watch galaxies slowly collide and stars eventually burn out the exact same way we watch a small campfire fade to embers. They likely existed since the early universe rapidly cooled after the Big Bang. They hide silently in the unseen extra dimensions of string theory, existing everywhere and nowhere all at once. We could easily be living inside their cosmic architecture right now, completely unaware that our physical universe is just a contained minor experiment running quietly on a server the size of a galaxy. Type 5 civilization. Multiversal masters. Now this is the peak. They have permanently escaped the strict, suffocating boundaries of a single universe. They intimately understand that our supposed reality is nothing more than one tiny bubble floating in an infinite, violently boiling ocean of parallel dimensions. They routinely traverse the sprawling multiverse, moving effortlessly between bizarre realities dictated by entirely different laws of physics. When their original native universe finally faced inevitable heat death or a crushing big crunch, they simply stepped sideways into a younger, hotter one without a second thought. They exist completely outside of time and space as we could ever possibly understand it. They can easily create bespoke universes perfectly from scratch, deliberately designing brand new physical laws purely for their own intellectual amusement. They are the supreme, uncontested architects of reality itself. It is highly, terrifyingly probable that a civilization of this exact magnitude actually created our specific universe. The Big Bang might have just been a microscopic ignition spark in their vast, unfathomable laboratory. The deeply unsettling truth is, to them, our entire existence, our bloody history, and our sprawling galaxy are nothing but a fleeting, programmed simulation. We're just fragile lines of code running unknowingly inside a locked sandbox. If we become too chaotic, or if the experiment successfully runs its course, they won't bother to send an invading fleet. They will simply turn off the machine.